Hi, Rabbi Daniel Brenner here with some more successful strategies for working with young Jewish adults. So in my previous videos, I talked about the developmental stages of young Jewish adults, and I just want to say this. If you are in a synagogue or a federation or a JCC or in some other Jewish institution and you're thinking about programming for young Jewish adults, it's really critical to decide which group of young Jewish adults you're looking for. Are you looking for the folks right out of college? Are you looking for the folks in that middle category who are between 24 and 26 and often are geared towards graduate school and first relationship? Or are you looking for folks who are a little bit more settled, who are for the most part coupled in that 28 to 32-year-old bracket? Think about which of those folks you want to focus on. And then the number one most important thing you can do is talk to people in that specific age cohort about what they see in your Jewish institution and what they would like in their lives Jewishly. If you don't involve them in the process, then you could do all sorts of things and waste all sorts of time and all sorts of money and get nowhere. But if you do involve young Jewish adults in the process from the very beginning, you'll probably find that what you do is successful. It's important, though, that you don't define success in some big, wildly fantastical vision of young adults filling up your institution every single day. The most important thing to do is to say one young adult or one or two young adults is better than zero. And start small and feel good even if you have 4 or 5 young adults other than zero. That is really critical with engagement for young adults because it really doesn't happen like this. It happens in an evolutionary process which starts with a small cadre of people who then start to reach out to their friends. But you've got to start out somewhere. So once you've engaged a young Jewish adult or a few young Jewish adults and thinking about how you are going to work to improve your name recognition with other young Jewish adults, then you're probably asking the question, well, how do we reach out to all of these young Jewish adults in our city or our town? Now, I wish there was a magic bullet answer. And when I used to work for Birthright, lots of people would say, well, can you just give us the email list and then we can just email all of these folks? And I thought to myself, well, geez, actually, we do email these folks, but they don't read email. Some of them read email, but very few of them read email. In fact, 90% of them did not read their email, at least from us. So if they don't read email from us, I mean, are they going to read email from an institution they haven't heard of? Probably not. And in fact, email is not a very good delivery system for anything that involves young adults. With young Jewish adults, no matter which category they're in, but the younger, even more important, personal communication that comes either through a text message or through Facebook or Instagram is really the most important way to get somebody to start thinking about being part of some kind of Jewish event. So if you start thinking that way, then you think, well, it doesn't really matter all that much if we have an advertising budget of $10,000 or $0. It really doesn't. It doesn't really make a difference if you create flyers or put things in a newsletter. It really doesn't matter all that much. What does matter is that you have a consistent tone and consistent language in your communications to the young adults that you are working with at the very beginning that they can share with their friends, and those friends can share with their friends. So that's really critical, that personal communication piece. And one final tip here about event planning for young Jewish adults. Once you've got your young Jewish adults involved, you know you're making all your communications personal. The third thing to think about really is what's going to happen when people show up to the event. Young Jewish adults don't necessarily feel comfortable in Jewish institutions. Now, even though a lot of them were raised in Jewish institutions, they don't feel comfortable there. They feel kind of like it's their parents' place maybe, but not their place. So it's very important to reach out with a smile, make sure there's someone there to greet them and to welcome them. That's really a core Jewish value. Hospitality goes all the way back to Abraham and Sarah, and that's the value that the Jewish community has in welcoming someone in who is feeling like there's a little bit of ice between them and the doorway. So you got to melt that ice a little bit. You've got to welcome people lovingly, and that's what is really important. It's important in all events, but really critically important in working with young adults who are a little bit isolated from the community. So those are 3 important tips, and I'll speak on further videos, not about events per se, but a little bit about what drives young adults to Judaism. And hope you'll stay tuned.